911, what is your emergency?
Every day, emergency services call handlers expertly deal with those in desperate situations.
When we pick up 911, you never know what type of call you'll answer.
Taking calls from terrified victims.
It is not a joke. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death. I'm afraid.
No, you're not, sir.
To listening to cold-blooded killers.
My friend and I got into an altercation. I'm the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you've killed somebody?
These are the stories behind the emergency call.
I can honestly say I could never have been trained enough for that call that I took.
With never-before-seen footage, we explore the real story behind the most shocking emergency calls.
My son fell in with the gorilla. He's dragging my son. I can't watch this.
Stanford 911, where's your emergency?
Oh, please.
What's the problem? I need to know.
Let the police up! With a gun! With a gun! Hurry
Who
up!
has a gun?
Please, hurry up! He's killing my girlfriend! He's trying to attack me! Please hurry! Hurry, please!
Are you there with your friend?
Listen, please.
Are you there with your friend?
How fast can you get them here? Just kill my friend! Hurry!
My name is Alberto Valbuena, and I'm a public safety dispatcher in Stanford, Connecticut. I was just 2 months out of training when I got the call. It was the beginning of the shift. We come in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The call itself happened at about 3:45. Stanford 911, where's your emergency?
Oh, this is Sandy. Rock River Road.
What's the
Send
problem?
the police. Send the police.
What's the problem there?
Please, hurry up! He's killing my girlfriend!
Rock River Road, they're saying someone has a gun and trying to kill somebody.
Dispatch all cars and all channels. We're getting more information that it's quite serious up there.
This was the beginning of a strange series of events.
You have a taser, a shotgun, and a rifle on the way up.
Probably one of the most bizarre police calls I've been on.
One man down.
Person down.
But he doesn't look good.
You could tell it was a very serious call by the number of officers that were dispatched. It was very confusing. You really didn't know what to expect.
We have a report of an injury at that location, so we're going to send you an ambulance.
I grew up working in New York City, plane crashes, riots, shootings, stabbings, but in all my years, I'd never heard a dispatch like that.
What is the problem?
He's killing my friend!
Who's killing your friend?
My chimpanzee!
Travis the chimpanzee was adopted when he was a baby in 1995 by Sandra and Jerome Herold.
Travis the chimp was very famous in town. He would often be out and about with his owners, and they would show up downtown at different fairs, at the parks. They would bring him out for walks. The Herolds operated a towing firm, and he would often show up with the tow truck at different accident scenes. Travis seemed to have an affinity towards law enforcement, and many of our personnel took photos with Travis and played with him.
Over the years, the bond between Sandra and Travis grew and became stronger following the tragic death of her only child in a car accident and the passing of her husband to cancer.
He was treated like a child, fed steak, ice cream, lobster. He would drink from wine glasses, often drinking wine. And in his latter years, he actually got quite obese. He got quite heavy.
Please, hurry up! Listen to me!
They're on the way, ma'am.
They gotta shoot him, please!
On this particular day, Travis was very rambunctious, kept wanting to go outside. And at that point, Sandra had put a depressant, Xanax, in its tea to calm Travis down.
He ripped your apart! Hurry up! Hurry up, please!
55-year-old Charla Nash was a close friend and colleague of Sandra Herold. She had known Travis since he was an infant, and when Sandra called asking for Charla's help in controlling him, Charla headed over with Travis's favorite toy. But this wasn't the first time Sandra had struggled to control her chimpanzee.
My name is Tilford Cobb. I've been working with the city of Stanford Animal Control for over 20 years now. The first time I saw Travis, there was an incident that happened when he was pretty young. Travis got out of the car and he was running around downtown Stanford and he wanted to play.
He would run up to the officers and pat them on the behind and then run off. And whenever they got him near the car, he would jump over the car and this process would begin again. Chimpanzees, when they're young and growing up, are a very cuddly, cute pet. But as the males grow and come into sexual maturity, they become very dangerous. They're extremely strong and they fight for dominance, for mating rights, and they're ruthless in dispatching foes.
After that incident, there was some concern of what was going to become of this chimp, who was like a son to the owner. We started talking about maybe finding a sanctuary for him to live in.
Sandra took the advice and wrote to an animal sanctuary, asking them to give Travis a home. But her attachment to Travis was so strong, she didn't send it. The failure to send the letter would prove to be a big mistake.
Oh, your chimpanzee is calling your friend.
He ripped her apart. Hurry up!
It is very bizarre because I didn't know we had those type of animals in our town, especially something so big. We don't have a zoo in our town, so never thought of a chimpanzee actually being in Stanford.
Rockberman Road, it's the Harrod residence. There's a 911 phone call that they have an animal. It's a chimpanzee that's going crazy inside the house and possibly injured someone.
I was at headquarters, and when this call came in, I started towards the scene. I knew I would be in command. Initially, there was probably about 20 personnel dispatched. It was very manpower intensive.
You have a taser, a shotgun, and a rifle on the way up. Dispatch animal control.
Animal control.
Do you have tranquilizing equipment?
We don't. I'm trying to get a doctor out here now with a tranquilizer. I was sitting here and I took the call from the police department and I remember thinking, wow, that's Travis. We jumped in the vehicles to head up to the property.
It's way kind of in a far removed area. It took some time before officers arrived on the scene.
Where are they, please? They gotta shoot him, please. I tried stabbing him, and he's hurt now, too.
The moment Charla arrived at Sandra's house, she was met with an aggressive adolescent chimpanzee, weighing over 200 pounds, with the strength of 5 men. Charla was no match for Travis. Sandra instantly tried to protect her friend and attempted to stop the attack by hitting him with a shovel. It only made him worse. Sandra then took drastic action. She stabbed him with an 8-inch kitchen knife 3 times. But this still had no effect on Travis. Making a run for the closest place of safety, Sandra ran to her car to call the police.
Tried stabbing him, and it made him worse.
Okay, Sandra.
Have them shoot him.
They will. Sandra, I already have the fire department close by, okay? So as soon as the police get there, the fire department's going to move in, okay?
It took just 4 minutes for the first police officer to arrive at the scene.
Sorry, do you want me out with the shotgun? Affirmative.
Please, hurry up! Listen to me!
They're on the way, ma'am.
They gotta shoot him, please! Please, hurry! Please!
Ma'am, I need you to calm down. They're already on the way, okay?
I can't
I know.
Please,
Is the monkey still with your friend, or is your friend still on the floor?
He killed her, please.
I need you to...
Please. Oh,
Ma'am,
my...
are you there with your friend? This is when it gets a little harder for us on the phones because there's only so much we could do via the phone and the radio. So this is the part that gets a little stressful for us because all we could do is try to calm the person. Sandra, I need you to stay in your car. Sandra, you still there with me?
They're here, but they're not shooting.
No, Sandra, I need you to stay in the car with me.
Oh, God, I'm so afraid.
Sandra. Whatever you do, just stay in your car. Hear that?
Travis the chimp went up to one of the police cars where an officer had taken refuge. He believed that he had locked his car, but Travis was able to open the door. He was covered in blood and looked very ferocious. And as he opened the car door, the officer was able to unholster his service weapon and shoot Travis several times in the upper chest area.
34, go ahead. They just opened up one of the patrol cars. We had to let a couple go. Received, rounds fired.
Seriously injured, Travis fled the scene.
Hey, listen, we gotta get this guy out of here. He's got no face.
She was so critically injured, we couldn't even tell if she was a man or a female. Very bloody, clothes ripped off of her, a lot of her hair ripped from her head. Such a bloody mess, and time was of the essence.
1A dispatch, man down is breathing. The orangutang's not in sight. I got him. Maybe EMS can get him out of here.
They told us that we had somebody critically injured in the driveway. We did not know where Travis was the entire time.
We formed a protective barrier around EMS and fire personnel, and we escorted them to where Charla Nash lay very mortally injured on the property.
Okay, dispatch, send the EMS in.
Receive, Sergeant.
The injuries that the patient experienced were probably similar to what I had seen in the past as far as somebody dealing with explosives. It just showed the power of the animal and the attack, the types of injuries that was unmerciful. Vicious, wild animal attack. And the animal won. The animal was just so powerful. We did find that she was breathing, but her injuries were extensive. She had massive facial trauma. She had massive trauma to her hands and upper extremities, and we weren't sure if these were survivable injuries or not.
We didn't know where Travis was. He had been shot. So we were looking for him on the property.
We found a very distinct blood trail. And we trailed Travis throughout the property. Travis took a very winding path throughout a wooded area and back around to the property. And Travis entered the residence. The door was left open. And as we wound throughout the house, following this very distinct blood trail, we came upon Travis in the rear of the house where its enclosure was.
We eventually found him in his bedroom, and he was hanging from the bed, and he was deceased.
Hey, one of the medics for this lady.
No, no, no.
Sandra, are you there with me still?
No, I just want to sit in the car, okay?
As the horrible reality sets in for Sandra, she decides to speak to the media the following day.
Here's something that was like my son. There's my best friend. It was in seconds, minutes. What do you do? It was the most horrible thing that could have ever happened. And many people know the love that I had for Travis and Travis had for me. It's horrible. It's a tragedy on both parts, for my friend and for him and me.
Against all odds, Charla Nash survived the brutal attack. But she sustained life-changing injuries. Charla spent nearly 2.5 years in hospital, undergoing pioneering face transplant surgery. 5 years after the brutal attack, Charla became an advocate for a change in the law and owning primates as pets.
I am Charla Nash. I'm here today to make sure that what happened to me never happens to anyone else ever again. In February 16, 2009, I was attacked and mauled by my boss's chimpanzee, Travis. He ripped off my face. I contracted a disease from Travis in my eyes, and the doctors had to remove them. And that's why I'm blind today. So I'm here today. I support this bill, and I hope people really support it. Thank you.
Essex Police Emergency.
Hi there. Okay. Hello. I need police and a forensics team to my address, please.
What do you mean? What's happened?
My friend and I got into an altercation, and I'm the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you've killed somebody?
Yes, I am.
You're telling me he is definitely dead?
Yes, I'm telling you he's definitely dead.
What's his name?
Breck.
Breck?
Yes.
And then his surname is?
Bednar.
Breck was my firstborn. It took me years to have him. And when he came, I was over the moon. He was an easy and chilled baby, and I took to motherhood more than I thought I would. When he was only 2 years old, Breck was bombarded with siblings because we hit the baby jackpot and triplets arrived. He took on that role of big brother really well, and the triplets absolutely looked up to him and adored him. He was always teaching them things, explaining things, and he was very patient. He loved to build and make things right from the start. He just had the eye and a brain for figuring out how things worked. As he grew older, that turned into loving to be on the computer. And I don't remember even teaching him about computers, he just took to it. He had confidence, but he didn't like to have a lot of attention and didn't realize actually how cute he was. He thought, oh, Mom, that's just you thinking that. But actually, he was quite a handsome boy.
Right, and who am I speaking to?
My name is Lewis Daines. I'm 18 years old.
Right, okay. And what's actually happened?
My friend came to stay the night with me yesterday, feeling very down, feeling suicidal. And I woke up this morning, he was in a mess. I tried to calm him down. I hugged him, then said that I was there for him. He shrugged me off.
Can you just bear with me a second? Don't tell me any more, okay?
When Breck was 13 years old, he had to switch schools and started attending a local state school.
But I remember one day he came home excited because he had been reunited with friends that he knew back from primary school. These friends were the guys that he had played with on the playground, that he had built things with, that he had so much in common with. And so he immediately took to spending time with them at school. They then introduced him into a gaming group, and I was thrilled because I knew these boys, I knew their parents and where they lived, and I thought, wow, what a great sort of situation. And he really then sort of melded into school and found his niche. He was quite happy then. They then introduced him to the guy who ran the server. No one had met him, but some of them had been gaming with him for up to 4 years. So they felt quite comfortable. They had built that relationship through shared interests, and they were having a good time with him.
Okay, so he came to stay with you.
I can explain this to the officers when they get
I will
there.
just, I need to take these initial details.
I know.
I'm Charles Thompson. I'm the chief reporter at the Yellow Advertiser newspaper series, and I covered the Breck Bednar murder case. Lewis Daines was 18. He'd lived on his own in a flat in Rosebery Road in Grays, and he had run a computer server for children that like to play online computer games. He was hosting a small community of teenage boys that all played the same game, and he'd been interacting with those boys for some time, and that was how he'd met Breck Bednar. Lewis Daines told the boys that he had been running a very important and influential computer company.
Lewis told the boys that he had made a fortune on the stock market and that his company worked secretly for the government. They were in awe of their new mentor. But Breck's mum wasn't convinced.
I tried to get to know more about Lewis. I felt like there was something to be alarmed about because Lewis had an older sounding voice. I Google stalked him and tried to find out what his picture really looked like. He didn't post any pictures. He would tell the boys because of his undercover work, he couldn't show his identity. So that concerned me because there was no proof of what he actually looked like, where he lived, where he worked. They thought that I was just an over-worried, paranoid mom who didn't understand technology. But I still could sense that this didn't seem like a safe situation.
Why did he come to stay with you?
Because he was fed up with his home life.
I noticed that Breck's views and opinions started to change, and I felt that it was all coming from this Lewis person who we didn't know. Breck would all of a sudden say he didn't believe in God or church, didn't need to finish education because Lewis was going to provide apprenticeships with Microsoft and get him career opportunities.
He became defiant, he became surly, he started issuing ultimatums to his mum. She realized that this was drastically out of character.
Nobody knew what advice to give. So I decided then to phone the police. And I said, I feel like my son and the boys are being groomed by the guy who runs the server. I gave his name. I said he claims to be 18. I think he's older. And I was told 3 times that police intelligence would be checked. And then they suggested sort of taking away his computer. So I got off the phone and I did take away all of his technology. I then organized an intervention meeting with the other parents. And we decided, well, we have no choice. And we then forbade the boys from gaming, speaking, or socializing to Lewis because we just didn't feel comfortable with it. And Breck went back to acting normally. He did his chores, he went to church, he did family activities. He was just his normal, nice self again. And I had no idea they were still in contact.
Can you not interrupt me with this part?
Okay, go on.
Okay. This is being recorded anyway, isn't it?
Yep.
What I didn't know is Lewis had instructed Breck to record that meeting with the other parents on a little MP3 player that I missed when I took away his technology. Lewis now knew that we were onto him. We didn't trust him. We didn't believe him. And we didn't want our boys to spend time with him. He'd sent Breck a brand new smartphone, would have been a 600-pound phone. So it became that much more dangerous because the whole thing went underground, right where a predator wants it.
Lewis Danes got in touch with Breck. He said to Breck, I need you to take over the running of my company. He said that there was government interest in this computer company and that the value was somewhere between 55 and 135 million pounds. He said to Breck, if you take over the running of this company, you'll be in line for that money when the company is sold. He said he needed him to come over to his flat so that he could show him the ropes and teach him what he needed to do to effectively run the company. He told Breck to tell his dad that he was going to stay with one of his local friends.
It was a Sunday, and it was 7 a.m., and a taxi actually drove into the drive and collected Breck. The taxi had been pre-booked 2 weeks in advance and paid for by Lewis and trafficked him an hour away to the county of Essex.
So you both went to bed, and then what's happened this morning?
I woke up. He was just standing up. He was in a mess. I have a penknife on the chest of drawers. He picked it up, opened it.
Penknife on the bedside table. Brett grabbed this.
Yeah.
What, in order to harm himself?
No, in order to harm me. He opened it and then lost control. In self-defense, put my left arm up to block him from stabbing me effectively. We struggled. I got him to the ground. He got up. I got the knife. I grabbed the knife and I stabbed him once in the back of the neck, I believe somewhere near the brainstem. He turned around, tried to carry it on, and I think I stumbled on my chest of drawers. I fell over. I got back up, backed away, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but the fight ended with me cutting his throat.
I woke up with an impending sense of doom. I just didn't feel right, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It was my birthday, and I thought, is it because it's my birthday? But then I thought, no, whatever. I then got a text from their dad saying, I'm so mad at Breck. He was supposed to be home at 10 o'clock this morning to babysit the triplets. He didn't show up. I can't get a hold of him. I don't know what to do.
He fell onto the floor. Couldn't stop it. His throat was properly cut.
And he's still on the floor?
Yes, okay, don't interrupt me, just let me explain this if this is being recorded. I didn't know what to do. I felt like taking my own life. Look, are the police on their way? I can hear some.
They are.
Okay, I'm going to go and do my part. Please, thank you for your help.
Right, just listen.
When the police arrived, they found blood-stained duct tape, Breck's clothes, and then computer hard drives soaking in the sink.
It was clear to the responding police officers that Lewis's story had been fabricated.
Whilst Breck was in Lewis's flat, he tied Breck to a chair with duct tape and then cut his clothes off of him, sexually assaulted him, and then stood behind him and slit his throat.
It was an hour before Lewis called the police, and in that time, he had a shower, put his hard drives in the sink, took photos of Breck's dead body, and then uploaded them to a social media site.
The triplets were home waiting for their brother to come home, and they started getting messages on their phone. So sorry to hear about your brother. R.I.P. Poor Breck, we're gonna miss him. And they're looking at their phones thinking, isn't R.I.P. something bad? But they didn't know what to make of it. The story had gone viral because Lewis had gone online and told one of Breck's real friends, saying that it was an accident. I got the call. I don't know how to tell you this, but Lewis has murdered Breck.
Upon his initial arrest, Lewis Daines pleaded not guilty to murder. But on the first day of his trial, he changed his plea to guilty.
After that, the police set up a briefing before the sentencing hearing where they gave us some details about him and his background. He had history with the police. He was under investigation for an alleged sexual assault at the time that he killed Breck, and he had previously been accused of rape in 2011. The courtroom was packed for the sentencing hearing.
My name is Lewis Daines. I'm 18 years old.
Listening to the 999 call and then looking at Lewis Daines in the dock, you can see how young he looks. This is a man, but he looks like a boy. He almost looks the same age as Breck. One of the papers called him the baby-faced killer.
After a day of hearing evidence, the judge sentenced Lewis Daines to life in prison. In light of his sentence for murder, the allegations of sexual abuse and rape were dismissed.
Every day I have sadness. Every day I'm reminded of him. And it will never be the same without poor Breck. He didn't deserve this. He was a clever boy, and maybe his fault was that he didn't see the evil in the world. And the last thing we want to do is take children away from what they enjoy doing, but we need to educate them so they don't make the sort of mistakes that Breck made.
What is your emergency?
I need a 911 assistance immediately, please. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death. I'm afraid. Please help me. This is not a joke. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death. I'm afraid.
Do you have anything that you can control the bleeding with, sir?
Sir, I have nothing, sir. Sir, I'm gonna die.
No, you're not, sir. What is your name?
My name is John. John Maynard.
My son John and I have a very close bond. We've been close since day one. It was an incredible journey just to be able to have him. John was very caring and very genuine. He was active in school. He was in Cub Scouts. As he grew up, he was in Police Explorers. John always said he wanted to be a working man. He wanted to work hard and labor hard and get his hands dirty.
When John was just 20, he got a job at a local recycling plant operating their baler, an industrial compacting machine used for crushing cardboard into balls. John was the youngest bale operator in the company. He was in charge of the night shift and the only one certified to enter the machine and fix any problems. On the 9th of July 2010, John was working the night shift. But there was a problem. The baler machine had jammed, which it often did when it rained. Knowing it would take 20 minutes to fix, John sent his 2 colleagues on their break.
The recycling place, which is on 7th Avenue, I just had my leg amputated by a bailiff.
You just had your leg amputated by a bailiff?
Yes, ma'am. This is not a joke. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death, I'm afraid.
Okay, hold on for the paramedics first.
Ma'am, I'm gonna die.
Hold
Can
on
you please help me?
Spell the name of that company. I'm trying to find an address for them.
Hello, this fire department. What's the address of the emergency,
43.
sir?
We're trying to find it.
My name is Jeff Abraham, and that night I picked up the phone and John was on the other end. First thought it was a prank call because John was so calm.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't hear you. What was it?
My leg has been amputated by a bailiff.
On a baler. And where are you located at, sir?
The recycling place.
He didn't know the address of where he was located, so we dispatched help where we thought he was.
John, you're behind the building at the big blue machine, right?
I'm in the blue machine, yes, sir.
I had asked what had happened. He was working with an industrial-sized compactor, and it was jammed, and he went up there to unjam it and started stomping on it with his leg, and the machine started up again.
Are you there by yourself, sir?
No, sir, I'm not, but no one's hearing me. And I'm really losing blood, sir. I'm gonna die.
No, you're not, sir.
If I give you a phone number, can you call my mother? Can you please tell her I said I love her?
My husband and I were having dinner at a friend's house out in Chuliota, which was about 45 minutes from Orlando. I had received 2 calls with numbers I didn't recognize that I chose to ignore. But they just really were nagging at me. And I had a gut feeling that I needed to listen to those messages. I listened to the messages, and that if I was the parent of a John Maynard, to please call immediately. He said that John had been in an accident, and I asked if he was alive still, and he was just very silent. And he just said, "Ma'am, you need to get to the hospital," and asked again if he was alive, and there was just a very long pause. My husband and I, we just drove as fast as we could to the hospital. He ran out of the car into the ER, and they escorted me into a small little room and said, "The chaplain will be right with you." And I remember being on the floor crying because I thought our son had passed away.
The last thing I remembered was them putting the little mask on me and telling me to count backwards from 10. I got to maybe 7, and then I opened my eyes and my family was rushing into the room, and apparently I had been out for 4 hours. When I realized that the bailing ram actually was moving towards me, I knew that I needed to get up and out of the entry port very quickly. The blades came to about here on me. I knew that if it actually made contact with me, it was going to sever me around my armpits. So I just made a mad leap for the window, and I actually thought I was good, but that last piece of cardboard I had been trying to break, which was sticking up, managed to catch the sole of my boot. and my boot got stuck in between the ram and that piece of cardboard. And steel-toed boots laced all the way up. There was no way to get it off fast enough, and I just watched my foot disappear out of sight. I felt everything. Almost every bone in my foot broke. I felt my innards of the foot shoot out the back of my heel. I felt my foot sever off. I felt searing pain. And then I felt this overpowering feeling of heat. That was all of my blood flowing out. And it just felt like somebody was holding a flame to the bloody stump. I somehow made it out of the hopper and into the control room. I grabbed my walkie-talkie because I knew my two coworkers were just on the other side of the plant. I radioed for them relatively calmly that I had just lost my leg and they needed to call 911. And then I sat down relieved that help was going to be coming. Nobody answered the walkie-talkie because they had actually broken protocol and turned their walkie-talkies off. And then at that moment, I remembered I had put my cell phone at the desk, which was a lot lower than where I normally put it, and was actually somehow in reach from the floor.
I'm not gonna die soon as my mother is gonna kill me.
Okay, we're coming, sir. We're coming.
Sir, I'm gonna pass out.
Okay, no, I want you to keep talking to me. You're gonna be fine.
I asked him if his pants leg was still on or did it get taken off with the leg, and he said, no, my jeans are still there. I said, well, just fold the jean over and hold pressure the best you can.
Sir, I think I'm gonna throw up.
They're just around the corner from you. I want you to continue to hold that pressure on there, even though you said the bleeding has stopped, okay?
Can you please pray with me?
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Dear Lord Jesus, Lord.
I've never had anybody ask me to pray with them, so if that made him feel like he was going to get through it, he was going to get through it.
Please be with my mother, keep her strong, because I know she's not going to be happy. God, please let me get through this. Sir, I don't hear an ambulance or anything.
They're coming as fast as they can, sir.
I pretty much was done. And at that moment, the door flung open and in comes Richie.
Do you hear somebody there now, John? I hear somebody in the background.
That's my coworker, Richie.
Your coworker just found you, right?
Yeah, he just found me.
Okay.
To see my coworker right when I was at the point that I was done was just, I mean, you can't call it anything other than a miracle. So, that's...
Okay. So, is he still there with you?
No, he went to get the police.
They're going to take good care of you, okay?
Okay, I'm going to hang up with you. Sorry. Can you call my mom? Sorry, I got to go. You're my hero, dude.
John was in surgery for several hours. The doctors were unable to reattach John's foot. Because of the risk of infection, they had to amputate his leg 4 inches below the knee.
Jeff Abraham told us we don't get to come to the hospital often because calls like this don't usually end up with a survivor. So, it says a lot. Thank you.
I was honestly all over the place for a good few weeks to probably a month before I fully just accepted that this is what happened and I'm here and a lot of people aren't and I need to be grateful and do something with my life. I had a great support network, people that were just willing to go above and beyond to keep me going. Definitely a deep sense of gratitude and thankfulness to everyone who helped me with this and to my parents for just putting up with everything that I know I was throwing at them.
Since John's accident, he started reaching out to other amputees and helping them through his YouTube channel.
All right, guys, a lot of people want to know what my stump looks like.
He made a comment to me once that he feels more whole having lost a leg than when he had both of his legs. And I think that sums him up. He's just incredible.
I've never been to China, but my foot was made in China. So technically, I am now part Chinese. So on that note, I'm going to end this video. Bye.